Hello. I watched Madam Web, the much maligned, the memed. My mom was in the jungle or something something and died by a spider bite or something something. That infamous line is memed about. People talk about it. It was made fun of at the Oscars. One of those Sony Spider-Man adjacent movies they have to churn out in order to keep the rights to the character. From the same people who wrote Morbius. I mean, sure, it's like a C-level movie, but I think some of the performances actually make it work. The cringy line, the bad writing and everything, because it's not well written. Dakota was actually a perfect casting. She actually delivered some of these lines pretty well. It's actually pretty watchable, for a good laugh. The villain, I think, is probably one of the worst villains ever, and I kind of feel bad for the guy. Pretty sure the studios weren't confident in his accent, and so they had to ADR his voice. A lot of the lines don't match the lips, so it's pretty shoddy work in general. If we can just exercise him for the movie, it would be a little better. But it does feel like, especially Dakota, maybe some of the Spider-Girls, and even Adam Scott here, kind of realized that they were just in a low-tier movie, and they kind of just played along, Even Emma Roberts here. But I would say the best thing about this movie is how they represent Madam Web's powers. She really sees into the future for a few minutes, really, and it just keeps looping back and forth. She's all confused, and it's really trippy. I actually recommend watching this while you're high, because it really enhances the experience of with your short-term memory loss and and looping back and forth. Everything's wait, what's going on? And you really feel more immersed into her character, and you kind of lose your sense of time. It's fun to see the Spider-Girls, and her trying to protect them and all that. Of course, you don't see them in their costumes except for one flash forward, for a couple minutes. But this bad guy, he's just in it looks like a costume from a Halloween shop or something. He's not really that menacing. I mean, they make him look too much like Spider-Man. They should have had him look like something else. Made him have a more unique look. She recognizes that the radio is playing Toxic again in the woods, and she realizes that she just went back in time, or she was looking into the future, and then she has to go rescue the girls. And that was a cool little scene. Really kind of showcases how she uses her powers. But really, it does fall apart more towards the end. The whole thing about this rich villain dude who's kind of like a Bruce Wayne type but evil, it kind of feels almost like a whole nother movie almost. It just doesn't mesh well with the whole thing. And then at the end, it's a bunch of Pepsi product placement with the Pepsi sign falling down. Typical spectacle at the end. I feel maybe this might have been a decent CW TV series or something. I would probably put that in the background and check out these Spider Gals and Madam Web. So maybe it was a good thing we didn't see too much of them in the costumes, because kind of does look a little too cheesy, and they but maybe if they leaned more into the campiness, it would have worked. Madam Web's costume here, look at that. That's pretty camp. And it ends at probably one of the worst lines in superhero history. She goes, and the best thing about the future? It hasn't happened yet. And so a lot of it is played seriously. They didn't even realize how hilariously dumb it all is. As a viewer, you kind of know this is just a trying to be a cash grab for Sony, and you don't take it seriously yourself. You can kind of laugh at it, with some friends. So I gave it a 2 out of 5, because it's not the worst thing ever. There's still some fun to be had here, and I was kind of looking forward to a female-led Spider movie. I would love to see a Spider-Gwen movie. Apparently they're making a Silk TV show. Hopefully that'll come out at some point, which is another Spider-Girl. Are they ever gonna make an actual Spider-Woman? I don't know. It doesn't look good for the Spider-Women in the cinematic universe though, since it flopped. Speaking of Marvel heroes, I did watch the new X-Men '97 cartoon. I guess it's a continuation of the '90s cartoon. I think any kid from the '90s remembers this cartoon, right? I remember seeing reruns. I would watch it when it was on. I wasn't religious about it. I think I was more into the Spider-Man one, and then of course the Batman one. The animation tier is lower budget than the Batman cartoon. The Batman cartoon is S tier animation, and then X-Men might even be like B tier, but the storylines and the characters were so great, it didn't really matter so much, and it was pretty well done, and to stand out. So it's nice to see that they rebooted it for Disney Plus now. A week before the show premiered, they fired the creator, the showrunner, I think, and it's a mystery. No one knows what exactly happened except for Disney. I'm not going to speculate on it because it could be anything, but it must have been pretty big, and I'm sure we'll find out at some point. But they've effectively buried that. I'm sure they don't want any bad press to ruin their brand spanking new cartoon show. People are liking the new show. I certainly dug it. It definitely felt just like the old one, but just higher quality. I do like this morph character. Shape-shifting, they use they, them pronouns. I think that's pretty cool to have a non-binary character in the main roster. Because, even though a lot of people are media illiterate, they don't realize that the X-Men has always been about civil rights and giving a voice to the marginalized. People don't want to see that, so they complain about wokeness this and wokeness that. That's just dumb talk. The funny thing is this show is so close to the original in terms of tone and all that it definitely ticks all the nostalgia buttons. I guess they want to retain the kids audience for this show, and it is the kids show, but it seems like it's more appealing to the people who actually grew up with the original show, right? So it would make sense if they actually made it a little bit more adult, made the storytelling a little bit more sophisticated. Maybe you'll get there. The biggest criticism I can have is really just the pacing. The whole premise of this new season is that Magneto takes over, and he's going to be taking place of Professor X. And I guess I wanted more build-up of his character, so it could have more impact when he takes over. Maybe it could have been like a 4-episode arc or something. Storm's mohawk here looks pretty cool. I think she's freaking amazing. And of course, this whole scene here of the anti-mutant people coming into the UN and storming the government building here. I would have to think it's recalling the insurrection of the Capitol in the U.S. in 2021. Maybe you'll get a little bit more, even more political this time around, and maybe, dare I say it, even more woke than the original series. Hopefully it'll cater more to adult audiences as the season continues in terms of its themes and its execution, its writing as well. Though I think they're going to try to keep it, kid friendly for the most part. In general, I would like to see the show evolve more into something bigger and better than the original series, and not just stick too close to its original template just for the sake of being nostalgic. But there's some twists and turns. We won't go into the final twist here, but there's some surprises coming up. So we'll see where it ends up. But so far, I'm digging it. I'm digging it so far. We'll see where it goes. Anyways, that's what I've been watching, what I've been up to. Next time, I'm gonna watch some other stuff, and we'll talk about that. But yeah, see you later. Bye.